Hello, I'm Ann Bertarelli, workplace success coach and co-author of the book, Relationships That Work, Work That Matters. We've all been there. Somehow or other, we find ourselves smack dab in the middle of a dysfunctional team. It feels like slogging through quicksand to get anything accomplished, and this goes on day after day. As a result, you find yourself dreading each workday and wondering when this hell is ever going to end. Do I sound like I know what I'm talking about? You're right, I do. I've had some experience with being part of a dysfunctional team, and I learned some good lessons from it. So what can you do about it? Well, there's no one-size-fits-all because every dysfunctional team has its own flavor of dysfunction. But there are a few things that you can try to see if things improve. In this video series, I'm going to give you some practical suggestions that you can try to enable you to function on a dysfunctional team. Ready? I know you are. In this video, which is part 1, I'm going to address your working relationships. And actually, it's my belief that most problems in the workplace are a symptom of relationships that aren't working. Even the ones that look like work process problems can ultimately be traced back to relationship breakdowns. So my first piece of advice is to focus on improving your relationships with other team members, particularly the ones that are most difficult. Most breakdowns that occur on teams are the result of relationships that are not big enough for the work that you're up to together. What do I mean by big enough? Well, let's imagine your relationship with your team member as a bowl. In this bowl, we have all the things that you and your colleague are up to together. Things like completing work projects, report writing, long-range planning, troubleshooting, going out on Fridays after work for a drink. Maybe. You get the picture. The more you're up to with another person, the bigger the relationship has to be. Your relationship with the clerk who waits on you in your favorite retail store can be seen as a relationship bowl. But this bowl is much smaller than the one you share with your coworker because you're up to bigger things with your coworker. If you tried to function at work with a relationship bowl that was retail clerk sized, you wouldn't be very successful. And actually, this is probably the problem on your dysfunctional team. Your relationships may not be large enough to successfully perform the tasks that you need to get accomplished. So in light of that, it's important for you to start putting some intention and effort into bettering those relationships. Now I know this can feel like a daunting job on top of everything else you need to accomplish in a day. But believe me, a little effort on this can make your future work days a lot easier. How do you get started? Well, begin with the low-hanging fruit. That is, pick the person on your team with whom it's going to be the easiest to cultivate a better relationship. The first step is to get genuinely interested in that person. I mean genuinely. Spend some time figuring out what's important to them and have conversations with them about it. People have a hard time disliking or sabotaging someone who cares about them. Next, work on building trust with that person. Remember, you're starting with just one person here. How do you build trust? There are 3 tried and true ways to do that. First, be reliable. If you make a promise, either deliver on it or renegotiate it, not just once, but consistently. Be the person who can be depended upon to follow through and get things done 99% of the time. Second, be sincere. Don't say things you don't mean. If you do, people will know that you don't mean them and they will lose trust in you. If you can't make a sincere comment, it's often best to say nothing. I'm sure you can think of a person or two in your life who never says anything you believe. They're usually not the people you want to associate with if you don't have to. The third way to win someone's trust is to have their back. That is, you take care of what's important to them, whether they're watching or not. So for example, if you know that getting the deadline extended for the new project is important to your colleague, you bring that up at the next progress meeting and advocate for the suggestion. This happens whether your colleague is present or not. So far, I've talked about targeting one relationship on your dysfunctional team for improvement and improving it by getting genuinely interested in that person and working to build trust with them. After you've made some headway with one person, then go on to another and keep going until you've built stronger relationships. Does this take extra time? Not really. You're probably interacting with the members of your team regularly anyway, and being reliable, sincere, and having their back can be done in the course of your daily interactions. So go out and get started. And tune in for the next video in the series. In part 2, I'll ask you to take a look at how you might be adding to the problem. It's sad but true that when we're on a dysfunctional team, we are not without fault. So it'll be time to belly up to the bar, figuratively rather than literally, of course, or literally if you want to. If you want to make sure you get part 2 when it comes out, be sure to subscribe to my channel. And while you're at it, why not mosey over to my website to see the resources that I have there? www.nomoredramaatwork.com. Until next time,